Hello, everyone. Welcome to Tuesday's Live. Today it is just Anita and I, or um, today we are blessed to be joining each other. And Mum is on holidays, as many of you might know, although it looks like she is joining us from afar today as well.
Hello, Ashala,
Yeah.
and everyone who's joined us. Welcome. Hello.
Hello, everyone. Hello, Ricky. Hello, Dawn. Thank you for being here. The dynamic duo, exactly. So,
Yeah. Ooh.
as per usual, please bring in your questions and please do put them in capitals for us so that we can recognize them easier. And I know that
Mhm.
Anita had pulled some cards before we came on today. I'm just going to order the universe here and let
Mhm.
her. Would you like to share about what you pulled?
Yes, I would love to share what I pulled. So, one
Awesome.
of the cards I pulled was on building community, and it felt really appropriate for like what we're doing here. I mean, just perfect alignment. And then peace and harmony. So, bringing that for us all through the breath, through the work that we're doing here, through the gathering,
Yeah.
and through the holding of space with one another and for one another, and also learning experience. So here we are, we're learning together through questioning and through pondering and philosophizing. And I
Yes,
want to bring
truly.
something, yeah, I want to bring something forward before we get into the first question, because it's something that's been coming up in sessions,
Hmm.
and it feels like a lifetime thing that we've been working on and balancing is going in between Jesus take the wheel and being proactive in our life. How do we walk
Yes.
that line of where we're trusting in divine order when we know divine order has been interrupted, yet now we're getting back in alignment with it? So there's that aspect, Jesus take the wheel. I trust in the greater plan.
Yeah.
And then when we need to step in and be proactive. And I'd like to say it's both all the time, but it's still feeling into um, that the difference when you're having something where you're trusting in the overall situation, and
Hmm.
yet we're still interacting and always being proactive and like divinely guided action. And how we can feel into that is that it doesn't feel frenetic or
Mm.
rushed. That's
Mm.
how we know we're in that calm, balanced, peaceful state, that it's like, this feels like divine guidance.
Yes.
This feels like where I can trust. This feels like where I can take action from. Because again, it's never doing nothing, but it is trusting in the bigger picture so that we don't get lost or in the details or in worry, so that we're not that one of the differences that's showing up right now, it's coming through, is that we're
Mhm.
not in ego mode. That
Yes.
is what can trip us up, and that's the monkey mind, and it's like, no, 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 that doesn't work, and distractions. And
Mhm.
so that's bringing back that balance and just going, okay, feeling that ease. So
Absolutely. Absolutely. Thank you for sharing that. So beautiful and totally so resonant for many of the synchronicities and weaves that are coming up in my readings as well, and in my life. In many people that I talk to on just on the day to day.
mm,
And I feel like I've mentioned it on here before, but I was taking a course through Mind Valley on manifestation, and
mm,
she talked about surrendered manifestation versus our old style of manifesting, which was all about manifesting through action. So you would write
mm,
your steps down that you want to manifest, and then you would have to go out and you would have to make it happen. And now what she says is that we're doing it more through a way of surrendered manifestation, which is, like you said, it's releasing that control piece,
mm,
and you know that you're in the flow with it because there's all these synchronicities that are happening
mm,
and all of these undeniable events and moments that even when they're challenging, you're there going, okay, I know. Even
Mhm.
if this feels hard, I
Mm.
know this is for the greater good of myself. And,
Mhm.
now we're starting to go beyond into the greater good of the collective. So
Mhm.
it's so beautiful to exist in that state. And, also to be conscious of not necessarily getting into ruts if you're it's just sort of like you said, Jesus take the wheel,
Yeah.
like, and just I'm in allowing mode or whatever.
Right, and when and
Amazing.
well, it's that remembering that it's even if we're letting go and letting God, or God helps, like, it's really more, and or Jesus take the wheel, that it is God helps those who help themselves.
Yes.
And I wanna say, I usually always do, but I'm mindful every time I say something that's biblical, I'm not coming from a religious, biblical, um, perspective. I'm just holding space for, that there is divine wisdom hidden in the book, but it has been, used to manipulate us and oppress us. So there's that as
Well,
well.
does that
Yeah,
ever lead into Ricky's question? Hey.
it does. Yes. Man-made religion dead. Yeah.
Okay, I'm gonna
Whew.
pop that up here.
Yeah. While you're doing that, is man made religion dead? Is raising human spiritual vibrations and consciousness connecting to the field that connects everything in the universe? How humans evolve now. Wow, beautifully said.
Yes.
Um,
I almost feel, Anita, like
mhm.
I would love to pull on the first question if you would pull on the second question, on the second part.
Okay, okay,
Yeah.
great plan.
Yeah. Since that's a two-parter and there's two of us, let's just
Yes,
rock it
yeah,
out
yeah.
here. Okay, is man-made religion dead?
And Leslie, we're building tribe with you here. Thank you for that acknowledgement. And the in-person tribes are coming. People are starting to find each other more and more. So, and as we expand out, we're going to make more discoveries. There's going to be more of us here, and realize, oh, hey, you're close by me, and these things, they're coming.
Mhm.
Also, Tina, I do see your question there. So let's get through this one, and we can circle back as well. All right.
Absolutely. Thank you for keeping an eye on those. And please, again, just another reminder to put it in capitals or it just ends up blending in for us. And we try to keep an eye on all of your questions. So, okay, interesting. Is man made religion dead? I mean, I see that it's gone, it's has like a period of going underground in a way. Certainly
Mm,
the oppressive aspects of some man-made religion and the more patriarchal dominant aspects of some of these quote unquote religions are going more underground, and we're starting to see like this Nine of Pentacles here, a lot more sovereignty in oh, come on, get clear. There we go. A
mhm,
lot more sovereignty in the way, and actually, we have the yes card there. So, in answer to that, I mean, yes.
mhm, mhm.
So, and not necessarily that it is dead or dying, but that it is transforming. Come on, camera, do your thing. It is transforming. And actually, what we've all been working towards, certainly in us building our new world parallel realities, is that it's going to be a lot more earth based as it was intended. And I think that man came here to share in that experience with the earth. And we're now going back and really learning how to communicate. We've got the Six of Swords here in the past. So, really learning how to move out of this sort of, I feel like, oh my goodness, quote unquote, brainwashing almost, and more into a real sovereign way of communicating, as well as I'd say more inclusive, because a lot of man-made religion is very divisive still and not inclusive as nature is. And I feel like a lot of more people are tapping into their hearts
Mm,
and tapping into their own true north, following their own light, the inner light that I often speak of in the Hermit, is really following your own truths. And one of the things that I always say is the most beautiful about the structure, one of the more beautiful things about the structure of religion is the community. And we kind of look at that with the money system too. Like we're building parallel systems, but we're going to take the things that we know work well, and we're going to utilize some of that and integrate some of that. We're not kind of killing all of it off, but I do see, yes, it's dying in a way. Yes, it's going underground. And this is just, I mean, look at all these major arcanas. It's just powerful spiritual time.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
And moving into the next part of the question, right away, what I'm getting shown first is how everything you've just included and addressed so beautifully, Kristal, is that this um, we're getting these upgrades, whether it's seen as through the solar flashes and solar flares, that there's new energy that's coming through, that's breaking through the old energy, the old matrix, and reaching us. And so that there's awakening within
Mhm.
those that have that very set religious mindset. And so even there, it's like, and how you said it's so beautiful, the community piece, and how can we evolve it
Mhm.
from this very closed and controlling system into, all right, let's take these beautiful aspects of it that help us all connect and raise our vibration and
Yes.
move it forward. And I just want to share quickly, one of my dear friends yesterday was sharing with me, she drives her mom to church once a week, and her mom is very much like of sort of a closed old school mindset, very traditional. And she just reflected to her daughter, she's like, wow, she's been complaining for years now with everything that's going on, how her church community was interrupted through the pandemic and all of these things, and how
Mhm.
sad it is. And a lot of people haven't even returned to going to church, so she's missing them in that social
Yeah.
time. But she said, I wonder if this was done on purpose. And I'm like, okay, so that's a lovely reflection where that's breaking through. And
Yeah.
she didn't clarify on whether it was like a divine plan on purpose or whether it was like a oppressive plan. But either way, it doesn't matter when we start questioning and looking beyond and going, And so, exactly with what is coming up here, it's
Yeah.
happening organically through people, through these energetic upgrades that we're receiving. And so, as we're moving into the next part of the question here, lovely, raising our vibrations and consciousness to connect to the field. I feel like this is what we do all the time. Is that how humans evolve now? However, the energy is new now. So no matter what we were doing before, we're doing it differently. And it feels more powerful than we've ever been allowed to be, because again, we're breaking out of the old matrix, the old systems. But what I pulled on it is essentially it's the temperance card, which is solutions, getting into solution based thinking,
Yes. Yes.
because it's being present in a moment. When because I have my degree in early childhood, when we talk about curriculum, there's a set curriculum, and then there is like the organically created curriculum where you're actually just you're in the moment and responding to the situation, as opposed to, well, this is the textbook here, and then we do chapter 1, chapter 2. And no, it's like, oh, I see that the kids are into, well, young kids, so they're into bugs, let's study bugs. It's not
Mm.
like, and now it's the bug unit time, it's
Right?
that's what people are into. So that
Yeah.
same thing, where what is working for everybody. Let's not,
Mhm.
like, religion doesn't have software updates like everything else. That's modern times. If you don't have an update, like, how is something old supposed to serve us? Unless
Exactly.
we're actively working it and going, okay, that stood for something back in a certain time, it for a reason, and it was probably coded for a reason too, because we know that everyone had to be careful on getting their messages out. What the block is to getting into solution based is not being in our hearts. It's the Lover's card,
Yes.
but this is what's showing, because these are like what already showed up in the spread you did
Coming
as
through your
well.
heart. Yeah.
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 And then
Beautiful.
moving forward, it's showing 10 of swords. Oh, there we go.
Lift it up
And
just a little bit. There we go.
an,
Perfect.
an ending, an ending. It's a completion of an old way of being. And so the more that the old system ends and is completed and evolves through, the
Yes.
more we can get into the field that we're all um, creating together. So as far as
Absolutely.
how we evolve now, yes, but what I'm also getting shown is that it's more than that. Partially because there's some things we can't even wrap our heads around yet.
That's what I was
Um,
just gonna say. Yeah.
yeah, and so the I pulled a few other ones, and of course, I mean, heart chakra. It's like we're
Oh,
getting really slammed with heart, 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 which is awesome.
yes.
Um,
Yes.
focus your mind. So
Mhm.
that's
That
interesting.
presence piece again, right?
Mhm.
Yeah.
And then healing energy, so that we're not spending time and energy in judgment of what was. I
Yeah.
mean, in general of each other, right? I mean, there are those that will be sitting in judgment if they've harmed others, knowingly harmed others. But it is different than when your heart is connected to something that you really believe in, and maybe you've wronged someone, but you were not aware. So that kind of thing, that the healing energy comes through, and so that we can step out of judgment of
Mm.
someone being so um, in a certain lane, and just allowing space can be created for them, so
Yes.
they can
Yes.
feel ease.
Yes.
Yeah.
And I mean, I know in the past when as you say, we've possibly done wrong unawareness to anybody. I know that the first step of healing that starts in you with
Mhm.
the shame and the guilt that you carry around it. And you need to regulate self before you can go ahead and reach out and be of support and connection to that person that you've hurt. Right. So, like
Exactly.
with so many things coming back into the heart. So
And
this is
and it's an
really,
inside job, it's our
oh,
work first. Yeah, I mean, we're
I mean, we don't mean to be on repeat, but the cards just tell us, you
yeah.
know, we're channeling all of you too. So this is
Yeah.
interesting, love, because and Ricky, at the end there, you were talking about grounding. I mean, like this coming back to the earth, and I do feel like putting your bare feet on the earth is one of the. I actually
Mm,
had a whole thing happen to me with 5G and phones and all of that kind of stuff, and I was looking up counteracting 5G, and it's the number one thing to do was your bare feet on the earth.
mm, mm.
So there you
Yeah.
go. And also, thank you, Leslie Ann, for bringing that question back because we were just discussing before we came on what we felt like there was a question from last week.
Oh, okay.
So she brought that one back. But Anita, first you were saying that someone else had a question. Did you?
Yes, Tina.
Perfect. There we go.
Tina. Okay. I know that your mom has said before that we pull for, usually in the lives, we pull for it,
General.
yeah, big picture. But when
Yeah.
we can, we'll take something here that is personal.
So I'd love to go ahead and pull three cards on you, Tina, on selling the house. Okay, so what I'll do is I'll pull three cards for each, and
Okay.
then Anita, you
So,
can tune into
yep,
what you
and
can be
I've
doing.
pulled already for
Go
her.
ahead,
So,
love. Yeah.
um, so what is showing is it's interesting because it's two of, oh, always reversed, two of wands, Gabriel, in this deck. But look at that lovely companionship piece that's being illuminated through your question.
Mm,
Because it's we go in and out of relationship through all of our lives, relationship with place, relationship with others. And that is the draw that it feels that we circle back to all the time. And so you're right in the thick of all the emotional um, pieces in that, like, as far as I'm concerned, and we have another real estate question coming up, even though it's not
Yes.
necessarily, but it's very emotional. Real estate is very emotional. It's one of the largest purchases that
Mhm.
people make in their life. It forces everything up through us.
Yes.
And so then when we have a divorce, a separation, it's a lot at once. So holding space for you on that as well.
Absolutely.
So that and the 2 of Wands really is about making bold decisions. So it is a really good, strong possibility, since you're asking about selling your house,
Mhm.
that that is how it's being guided for you, is to follow that intuitive piece. That the block might be emotions, that you're not following your heart at this time, so that there's this attachment to, even though you're looking at having this passion of yours, an artistic career being the pull. It's like maybe it needs to be thought of a little bit differently, um, as far as emotional processing to get your thoughts clear. Because when you do, you know exactly what to do. That you remember, the tap into all the wisdom and experience you've already had, and you have. Um, but like, it's Queen of Swords, which is really indicating you, moving forward. This is a time for you to focus on career rather than relationships. And since I
Mhm.
was already saying are in relationship with everything, I mean, you can be in relationship with your career too, but you're in relationship with your house. So it's feeling like, if this is the path that's presenting for you to be able to do so, that you know, or you don't. Like, when you build that inner trust, it's an inside job, right? Then it's so clear. It's not monkey mind and worry. When you get calm, is that what
Mhm.
is guiding you? Because
Mhm.
that's what's showing up. Yeah.
Absolutely. Yeah, I see that also in what I pulled. Definitely the weight of it's interesting because you have so sweet 2 pages that came up here. So it kind of answers both of those questions, I feel like, in one go. And the fact of it is that although these things may have brought you joy and may have brought you comfort and may have been your dream, they're now weighing you down. They're weighing your mind, and it's not all just yours. It's so many of the influences of the entire piece of the life that you have been living. And so the invitation, it seems like here, is to embrace. Um, they're not aces, but you have 2 pages, which is the twos are the mastery and balance. And so the invitation is to step out of the old paradigm that you have built. And the answer here looks like the invitation to up level to a different way of thinking about yourself and different way of thinking about your life, and not just thinking like you've been doing before, but actually we call it repatterning and reprogramming in the most compassionate, sensitive, curious way. This isn't like a king or a queen where you have to be master of it yet, but you are mastering balancing out this lighter way of thinking going forward in life. These beings are much more artistic, right? And the Page of Wands is like, pick up that walking stick and the world is your oyster now moving forward, once you let go of a lot of the weight that you've now been carrying. And you're in a 9 here, so that's close to the end of this cycle. So that does say to me that the selling of the house and the divorce probably looks like a beautiful new beginning of some really light, playful, curious, adventurous energy that's possible for you going forward.
Awesome. Yeah, amazing. Well, all the best with that, Tina.
All the best to you, Tina. We are here to support you if you need anything. There will be links after to go on to the site. Please like, share, and subscribe. And bringing your questions every week is so beautiful. It's wonderful to see you all here. And as I said, links will be below when we are done. And Anita, would you please pull up the next question? I have to grab something from Deepest of All.
Yes. Oh, so this is going to be, I'm not sure how to pull it up on the screen or if I'm able to, but I can start by looking at CAS. Is a real estate crash for commercial buildings in BC, Canada coming? So yeah, Kristal, you're going to have to put it on the screen, but I have read it
No
out
problem.
and I'm ready to speak to this.
Sorry, which one was it? Was it the one from
So
Leslie?
CAS, no, CAS is a
Right.
real estate crash for commercial building in BC, Canada coming. Yeah.
Gotcha.
Ooh, well, so I got the justice card right away. So that feels like, a balance from all of those backdoor inside deals that have been happening forever. So if that is part of what needs to happen for people to realize that something has been going on that needs to change, the block is the sun. So it's
Ooh.
blocking everybody from having good flow, good business, shining their light. So the piece to move forward. Oh, and I'm going to have to sit with this because it's emotions. So it's 6 of Cups, Raphael in this deck, but 6 of Cups because it's the nostalgia card. So it's, oh, okay, they're showing there is value in how things were done at one time when it wasn't overly manipulated. Even though there's always been a control aspect, there is still part of what I've been drawn to lately. There's still a heyday for some things for a reason. Like the golden age of flying was one of the things I was just recently looking at, where people dressed to the nines, and it was only really for the uber wealthy. But what a difference it is from today. And this is what is getting shown connecting with this for the question is that it's a return to um, community, really, that feeling of where you want everyone to do well. why
Yeah.
why wouldn't why wouldn't you? And you
Yes.
want every building to be filled and have lovely energy going through. Nobody is served by an empty building that is or dead architecture, is that's a lane in dead architecture, a lane in and to philosophize over, where there's just buildings that are dead energy, whether that's done intentionally or not. Like some of them end up not even being inhabitable. There are empty large buildings in the world that why did that happen? What manipulation? Because it always feels like if on such a grand scale, it feels like there's this reason that we don't know. So,
Mm.
anyways, we're really showing a circling back to the way things were and bringing that lighthearted joy through, processing those emotions so we can move on. So, even though it's justice, because justice can be sticky energy, but to move into true justice, allowing our emotions to get released, and that is the information I've being given. So when you're asking whether it's coming or not, they're so far what I'm being shown is let that float in answer to your question, because it almost feels like, of course, when we're affected by it, it's not a minor detail. It's very big to us, but just how I'm being shown in the big scale is like how it plays out. Justice coming through, but I'm not being shown crash or not. So maybe that is something coming through for you, Kristal, that
I'm not seeing a crash either, like,
Mm.
not even close to crashing.
Okay,
So it's really
so maybe still that
interesting.
justice without a crash, justice in a different way, because it feels almost like we're in a crash, like
I
this
feel
is the
like
crash.
justice can be for good.
Oh,
Like,
yeah,
it's
yeah.
good justice. It's
Yes, of course.
actually that there's something about this victory card here, this baby
Mm,
steps and celebrating these little wins in life is like, you know, we clearly had to go through what we're going through in the real estate market to understand. It's almost like to say, like, we also have to see like the debate that just happened in the election in the states. It's almost like you need to see how ridiculous it
mm,
can get to be like, okay, this doesn't make any sense anymore. Like, can we look at the places throughout history where we really had success as cities and communities in how we've dealt with the real estate market, and where we can start having um more. I mean, look at these cups. We've got the Knight of Cups and the Page of Cups here,
mm, mm,
so there's something about, to me, it's all about, instead of us focusing on how upset we are with the markets, let's focus on how this has pushed us to evolve into really owning what we truly want, and what we vision, what we romanticize our
mm,
lives really looking like. So do we really want our real estate crash? No. And do we really want it to continue to go up and keep exploding and us not be able to afford anything? No. What do we want? Right. And
mm,
it's really coming from this playful, curious place of what has really worked for us in the past, and how has what has been happening actually been helping us push us towards victory one little step at a time. So it's going to be a lot, actually, I think, in how we approach it. And
mm,
we know, I mean, I can't even tell you how many conversations I have in a day. People are like, my manifestation is just off the charts, you know? And I'm like, yeah, exactly. So
mm.
fantasize about what you want it to look like.
Yes, yes,
How to
and I
drive.
love that. Yeah. Flip the script. Flip the
Yeah.
script.
Yeah.
Because I just heard this earlier today where there's a lot of people wanting things to crash, old systems to crash, like putting that energy out there. And the advice was uh, realize that everything that crashes out there is going to crash within you. Because again, inside job. So if you're ready for that, okay. But
Mhm.
energetically, you are shifting. When you see change out there, that you are the lens that you're perceiving the world through. You are the radio antenna picking up another radio antenna signal.
Mhm.
So always be looking at how you can shift your wording and reframe things into the light, into the lighter, into what you're envisioning. And that's not to we want these questions, Cass, and we're not saying don't ask them. It's that let's take that energy, and we're alchemists. Let's alchemize the
Yeah.
energy. Let us shift it where we envision it.
Yeah. And I mean, it's not like I mean, I feel like we come on here all the time and we're like, just be light and happy and love and come into your heart. And it's like, this is what's coming through. If I saw big, heavy cards there, I would have spoken to that happily. It's just what's coming up,
Mhm.
So we're just going to keep showing up for it because it feels better to me.
Yeah, for sure,
So,
and that's it. That's our guidance system because it was cups too, and emotions are our GPS system. They're built in to us for a reason. Let's let's learn how to work with them even more deeply.
yeah, yeah.
Yeah, and so Leslie's question about Rumble here.
Um,
Um,
yes. So
so
Leslie also said, related to religion, I
yeah,
commented regarding the pagan and feminine of old on the last live. So I'm going to pull that up.
yeah. Oh, I think this is something that your mom wanted to get into, though. I
Yeah.
mean, we can do that, but
Oh,
it might have been something that she was talking about, um, focusing something on it sometime. Like we can see what comes through for us now, but I don't know. There was something.
interesting. Okay. Well, you and I are rocking the next live too, so she's not
Yeah, yeah,
gonna be here.
yeah,
She can't just leave us.
yeah,
Come
yeah.
back
No,
in 3
we'll
weeks.
go ahead. But before we go to that question, I'm
Yes,
actually feeling about Leslie's previous question about
the Rumble one.
registering for the QFS on Rumble. I
Yeah,
mean,
let's
while it
do
is
it.
something we can look in. Oh, yeah, we could look into. What I was going to say is always be mindful of what you're receiving. There's so many scams out there, but there's also some really amazing things happening. So, um, yeah, I mean, if we want, now that you pulled it up, sorry about that, Crystal. I wasn't meaning to
Oh, no, no, no.
go.
I saw that earlier, and I mean, we're all getting some pretty crazy emails and phone calls and all of that kind of stuff.
Yeah, yeah,
And
spams.
what's crazy about all of it is that with so much AI coming in, we're having this is the way the world is potentially going to go. We're going to have a harder and harder time discerning what is real and what is not, what is, say, you know actual human reality versus an
Or
AI generated.
or are we going to have an easier and easier time discerning that
Exactly.
now we're in that push point to build that discernment muscle of
Yeah.
um, even like muscle testing, if you know how to muscle test yourself, if you're really feeling thrown, that, oh, should I act upon this? It's like what we were talking about at the beginning with Jesus take the wheel versus divine action. Sit with it. When you receive a message, if it is it really resonating, explore further. Just don't be throwing money at things because it feels like an opportunity, that it, and especially if there's anything that is in a time crunch, anything that you're getting pushed that way. But if it's really resonating, you could do something, something small, exploratory. But what I have been shown over and over again is that you need to do it. You need to figure it out. So don't be like, oh, this person's going to help, and they have a link for me. No, because that's where the scam problems happen. It's
Right.
you entering, exploring, studying, entering into the system and going, oh, I'd like to choose this, setting up your own
Yes.
account, KYCing yourself through a Coinbase or Binance or one of those digital currency exchanges. That would be a way into the quantum financial system, as opposed to the easy button of someone sent me a link with this amazing opportunity. So hopefully that makes sense on the very logical side. And now, Crystal, let's see what you pulled.
I totally agree, Anita. I see that as well. I see that Spirit has sent you a message, and it has influenced you to open it up and really tune in with the possibilities that are there. To actually, it could be quite beneficial for your life, but it's learning a whole new way of looking at researching and gathering your tools, um, with something like the QFS, because we are all stepping into these alternative currency realities in many different forms, and as Anita said, to just follow a link and be like, okay, good, somebody's going to do it for me, or they're going to lay it all out and it's going to be easy. It's not meant to be easy. It's meant to be a long term investment of self and your intelligence, and it's meant to ultimately sharpen our intelligence, um, our internal intelligence and our financial fluency. And so I see it as an incredible opportunity. Please, anybody that is capable of doing learning and the research, you're not just doing it for you, you're doing it for all of us. So, Leslie, we encourage you to dive in and keep us posted. Good luck, because it
Mhm,
looks like a beautiful option for you.
mhm.
Yeah.
And that's something we can touch on at another time. Again, like we're having ongoing dialogues here. So let's go
Yeah.
to the other ongoing dialogue back to related
Yes.
to religion. So today and from last
Yes.
week from
And then
Leslie.
Peggy had a very interesting question after as well. So let's
Okay.
go back there.
Oh.
Anita,
Yeah.
I'm going to
Okay.
shuffle you. Go ahead first, love.
Yeah. Okay. So this is feeling like a new foundation because I have root chakra showing up. So this is um again, we've already started to talk about religion today, and we had last week that we are building new foundations. And when you do that, because an inside job, you're checking in with yourself. What does this feel like in the way that you'd build a house? And it's like, does that look good? Does that feel good? Does that same thing? You're building this internal housing uh,
Yeah.
and connecting in with the intuition flow that you're receiving when we are plugged in to the divine universe, to God's true source messaging. That is clarity that just starts to come in within each of us. And if it's not clear yet, that is an indication to build a practice. There, again, there isn't the easy button. This is, what are you going to dedicate yourself to? But I'm just getting shown is actually simple, but not easy. It's just that slight nuance difference of um, when we step into our sovereignty, it can feel challenging when we're breaking up the old energy. It can feel like something you're resisting and not and shying away from. But
Mm,
if you feel the bigger piece that you're being pulled to and drawn to something, honor your feelings. That's what's showing up. Honor your feelings about this.
yes.
And that's just feeling pretty divine feminine as well. And honor your timing because divine timing showing up. So it's
Yes.
very much in flow. It's not it's some and we what I was talking about before, if we have a crash of something, if we have energetic crashes within ourselves, those can be the more challenging changes to deal with. But when we're in flow, it's a gradual shift here, a gradual shift there. Every now and then, whoosh, yeah, we go faster down the river of change. However, it's it's like flowing at the same time
Yeah.
so that what you're talking about and has have as we've already been talking about religion, it's another stream joining together and making it stronger and allowing other things to fall away. So same with this question with you know the pagan and the feminine of old. That's it's feeling like, yes, it's coming back in this divine feminine, but it's in balance to the masculine, as we talked about last week, and in
Yeah.
balance to where we need to um, go or be to bring in this holism. They wanted me to say holism as opposed to holistic. So there we go.
I love it. Holism. I'm
Yeah.
using it. Holism.
Yeah.
I
All
got the
right. So,
holism in me.
yeah, that's right.
Well, thank you for asking this question, Leslie. And I know it's not necessarily like a fully developed question there, but it's a beautiful topic. I mean, clearly very powerful to look into. And I'm just kind of blown away here. We've got three aces in one spread.
Wow.
So, holy tamale. And the justice card coming up again
Mm,
as this is us. So we're really being called to justice around developing, like you were talking about the scales, and we're being called to come into that divine balance of the masculine and the feminine. And we're actually, this is a whole new beginning. Like
mm,
we've got three new beginning cards here, and we're really being invited to, gifted actually, the opportunity to work together to build entirely new. This isn't pagan of old, this is pagan of new. We are bringing in ancient wisdom and honoring all that we have collected. But we have this whole new energy that's coming through, and we have this whole, like, absolutely new up-leveled ways of thinking and coexisting and co-creating together. And I mean, I even know right now, like, I have developed a beautiful close-knit group of women who are coming together and spending time in ceremony together. And I feel like so much of it now is like really starting to bring in, okay, how can we set this container to, yes, honor the goddess and honor the power of the feminine in the ways of old, in the wisdom that we've been shown that we carry inside of us now. And how can we then lead by example and invite in the healthy masculine that's really actually ready to show up in many ways with the ancient wisdom that they carry inside of themselves? So I really see us stepping into, again, coming back to religion, stepping into a whole new, there's going to be things that are going to go underground, and we're stepping into whole new realities in how we integrate and create new religious systems. Or, oh my goodness, the word religion is even so triggered. We're going to find new words even.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
Lovely.
Mhm.
Okay.
Mom, I'm sure has so much to say on this because she
Yes,
really,
yes,
yeah.
yes. Okay, let's see. Uh, let's see if there's one because yes, Cass, I see you have a personal question. We do try to keep it here in questions for everyone, for the globe, for the world, I should say, the
Mhm,
realm that we're living in.
mhm.
Um, and so
I
if
did I felt like I did see another one here. I'm just gonna read what Mama wrote.
okay.
AI, artificiality, and this challenge of discernment is going to force us back into real in-person interactions. Yeah, I predict a renaissance of a low-tech or no-tech trend. For sure.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, and that was what I was saying about it just getting so ridiculous that we're now going to be like, okay, I'm stepping away from this dancing monkey show that we've got going on here, this puppet show, and going to come back into spending good quality time with people that I discern feel of the highest good for me.
Hmm.
Yeah.
Yeah, for me, I ride that line. Um, it's so good to reset. Yes, in-person connection, so important. That's why, when it gets interrupted, we've witnessed over the last few years what the how challenging it can be. I almost wanted to say devastation, but it forces us to get resourceful to a point and to reflect within, do the inside work. But when we're that it's ideal if we can take that time ourselves as opposed to it being put upon us. And
Hmm.
and so yeah, building community. But I do feel like I'm shifting a little bit on technology and AI. A little
Totally.
bit. Yeah, like there is something about we hear and feel the stories of Lemuria or Atlantis where it was like this was tech problems. We tech that we took too far, that push, push, push. And it's feeling different this time though. So I'm hoping that there's a collaboration because how I've been shown, it's more like getting into some sci-fi things in Star Trek, to have a replicator that is not maybe the same as growing your own food lovingly and then having the harvest and sharing your love that way. However, replicator technology definitely could have a place where we make sure everybody is getting fed.
Yeah.
And like in the balancing out of things, I feel that part of it is that it has been blocked, or even was it last week or the week before, or it was talking about Tartaria, where it's old technology that's been blocked from us that we were in harmony with and living so well, and these things were taken away from us. So it's feeling like those things coming back in can be beneficial if we're staying grounded, if it's governed in the highest and divinest of of good. So
Mm-hmm.
all
Mm-hmm.
right. So okay, Peggy.
I'm gonna pull on this last question here because we do have 10 minutes left. And I really invite people to also trust in our highest wisdom as these human experiences that we came here to have, that we have developed and pre-designed all of this to occur. And so let's get more curious about all of it rather than like stepping into like the old, like, oh my gosh, no, can't even go there. And everybody
Mm,
is going to have a different version of who they're meant to be with it and how they're going to interact with it, and how it's going to affect their lives. Because I mean, we're all starting to live on a lot of different timelines nowadays, I think,
yeah.
so
Well,
it's going
lots
to
of different
vary.
frequencies active. Yes.
Exactly. Yeah.
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 Okay. Hmm.
La- Excellent question.
So
So,
Peggy asking, when will we see the first arrest that will shock the world? And before we get into it, I do want to reflect back on the question about real estate crashing and how we've been talking about everything's energy. And if you're asking for shock, are you wanting shock? Are you ready for that shock? Are you ready for, um, and it feels like we are, because these are the things when you're aware, you're like, oh, it's been years of just hoping and fingers crossed. Um, but it's that still being mindful of that wording of like shocking the world. Sometimes it can be a good thing to trigger people, to engage people with doing research and reflecting on what's actually going on, engaging with what's going on. It can also be the thing that is the final straw. So that is why I feel we can keep getting shown, keep getting shown. We're getting slow played for a reason. That
mhm.
it's preparing our vessel, preparing everyone's energy. So it's not. Um, One thing that they're showing me is how shocking for most of the world it was when Trump first got elected. So that kind of energy, people adapted who were shocked, but it was palpable, and so it can be good and bad, or it can be, not to label things good or bad, it can be challenging or um, relieving, depending on what perspective you're looking at it from. So, anyways, we'll see what Kristal pulled here, but just wanting to say that it's we do get the reminder sometimes to be careful what we wish for when we have this
Mm.
divine plan helping us, guiding us. So, let's see what you got on this, Kristal.
Yes, I mean, there's been lots of arrests that shock the world, and a lot of also choices of uh, placement of power that shock the world as well. And interestingly, I mean, I'm not necessarily sure. Like, I think that what is happening right now is that no matter what happens, we're kind of shocking the world by the amount of light that we're shining on everything.
Mm,
So it's not just like one big arrest. It's like all of these truths are continuously coming forward. I mean, particularly you may see it around something that involves children.
mm,
Um, because the Six of Cups has a very childlike energy to it. So it may be something that is like something that we almost can't even understand is happening right now. And that there is going to be, the more that we continue to step into our light, the more that we really expose a lot of the sort of greater mysteries. And so I feel like with the Fool coming in, we're not actually really supposed to know. And what we're supposed to continue to do, I feel like, is really honor building relationships with ourselves and our inner child, and also really building healthy, safe, supportive community for our children in this next generation as well, because there's going to be a lot of big arrests that will shock the world in the future, I'm sure. And
Mhm.
so it's the world that we're creating as all of this is happening that's really going to matter.
Yeah, the energy's still so tangled. I feel
Yeah.
like we're in an untangling still. That's why you'll see the little sprinkles. You'll see um, there was Fauci on the stand. I remember seeing a little clip of his own audio being played back to him, and he's like, "I didn't make anyone do anything." And then they played a clip to him of like, and he just sits there. And it's because I didn't follow the whole thing, because I like to be aware of what's going on, but not immerse myself too deeply when it's that kind of energy.
Hmm.
It feels like, okay, so that is it's theater for the asleep, is a way of putting it, right? Because when you're aware, then you're like, yeah, okay, well, good, this is flowing. But
Hmm.
it's these little triggers where someone can go, oh, what, he's just saying two different things there. Yeah, I remember that audio, I remember that talking point that we heard over and over again, and now he's saying he didn't say that. Is that enough of a friction of energy to get more people paying attention in a different way? And so instead of it being a big arrest, it's like, ooh, can we work this energy? Can we open a few things up a little bit before going too big? And
Yes.
circling back on some same things, this week there was documents released on Epstein as well. So when you put the children card there, could be really relevant on um, that still playing out.
Yes.
That
Yes.
there's a lot that's already in motion that we can shine our light through, as
Yes.
Crystal was showing there, and hoping that that raises and rises, so that we'll get a little bit more movement. But whether it's a one big thing,
Yeah.
it would that's not showing yet anyways. It's
Yeah.
showing
And
like these little ripples still of movement, of
this
shifting
is
and
really
shifting.
a new, like with that Fool coming up, this is really a new journey for all of us to have
Mm,
so much exposure that's now coming through, like, as I said, the shining of the light and the raising of the darkness from the depths because of it. Like, we're experiencing these unprecedented times, and we kind of feel like fools on this journey. We're like, holy moly, where's this gonna go next? And even if there is a big arrest that shocks the world, what happens then? Like, we just don't really know, because this is unprecedented times and we're all on
mhm.
this ride together. And it is such an honor and a pleasure to have all of you joining us today. Just like that, an hour has flown by.
Yes. Oh,
Thank
and
you.
so many lovely comments from all of you, and thank you for engaging and bringing your questions, and yeah, thank you so much.
Yes, and
And
thank you, Anita, for joining me today.
thank you,
And
Crystal.
Mama Shella, it's so beautiful to see you here. Thank you for bringing your energy and
Yeah,
your guides to join us and cheer us on.
yeah.
And thank you for your comments as well about the sound last week. I hope that it is better today. Please do keep us posted if there is any issues with it. And we wish you a most beautiful week. We'll see you again next week.
Yes. Okay.